Public Affairs Senator Yemi Adaramodu, who has continued to say a lot. I mean, but just before we come into the main contention, I want to highlight one part that we have not really heard you talking about, the reduction of, the days. And like I said, that you had now set for INEC from, down to 180 days, from 360 days to 180 days, by which INEC has to publish a notice of election. Why that reduction? Because a whole lot of people are confused.
Oh, yes. Good evening, the anchor, and good evening to the Nigerians. First of all, I'm very happy that you are even asking that question, because many Nigerians are not even talking about all the other areas where we have to maybe come in as a form of the reform for the electoral bill, which we are proposing for the conduct of 2027 elections. Just about the reduction, we have found out, and several people have been saying it, that yes, after election, after swearing, then there's always this tendency that politicians, we have only 2.5 years into their 4 years when politics will start. And then when you now have 360 days, that's a whole year for an election to hold before that person is sworn in. And then when you use that whole year with the 6 months after the election, when you will be sworn in, that is 1.5 years. Meaning that you have only potent 2.5 years to work for the people, to work to justify the mandate that the people have given you. So we are now saying that instead of we complaining every time that it is politics, that campaign before campaign has already started, let us now shorten it and make sure that we give politicians who have gotten the mandate of the constituents and of the people of Nigeria, now let them have the ample chance of making sure that they showcase what they have campaigned to the people that they are going to give to them if they are voted in. So that's why we have reasoned that yes, 360 days, within 160, 180 days, we must be able to do that one, because no politician is coming from the Jupiter, none is coming from the Neptune, none is coming from a Mercury or Venus to come and contest. And then the laws are already there. Since the laws are already there, the only thing we need to do is for the primaries of the parties to be held, and then after that one, transmit names of candidates to INEC. And then we are now thinking that INEC itself, when we talk about sensitive materials, why are we not operating in Nigeria? If we are not operating in Nigeria, we know that there's going to be an election for social time, then we can in advance do whatever we want to do. That's why we are now saying that, look, let us make sure that we give that right to Nigerian people that have been asking, that have been saying.
But it won't affect this INEC in this preparation ahead of 2027.
That what?
Won't it affect this INEC, the INEC leadership ahead of the next election? Isn't it too short?
I personally, and then the Senate does not see how it will affect INEC, because INEC has not even complained.
Okay.
And not only that, now let me just give a precursor. Even whatever the Senate has done is now going to be ratified, maybe by next week, by upholding our votes and proceedings. Then it will be now referred to the conference committee, whereby the House of Representatives and Senate will now meet and now harmonize and now get a just sieved and then have a joint agreement on all the provisions of the clauses of the electoral bill, which will now be transmitted back to the to both chambers, that we are going to pass as electoral bill, which will now be transmitted to Mr. President for assent.
All right.
So we still have just a very short way to go. So we have not done the final thing.
And you would have been listening to your colleagues, I mean the minority caucus, people like Senator Yemi Adaramodu, who are still insisting that your insistence when you appeared on Arise News 2 days ago that we have transfer is actually not the reality. Based on them, they are saying that transmission was retained. It was transmission that was retained and not transfer.
My brother, I'm very happy you said minority. Minority, we all know in democracy, they always have their say, but the majority will always have its way.
What did the majority say that day?
What the majority said that day was that we are adopting what had been in existence, and we gave provision for it. One is that, look, when you are transmitting, you should have collated before you transmit. Machines do not collate. from EC8A had already been there. Presiding officers and poll clerks will now generate from EC8A. Then we now have party agents who will be there. And then election results will be counted while everybody is there. And so you will already know the results of your party, for your party and candidates in every polling unit. It is after it that it is transmitted to wherever, either you call it IREF, you call it MREF, you call it TREF, whatever REF you call it. It is there because we are not doing electronic voting. If it's electronic voting, it means that if it's electronic voting, then real time it will be appearing on that platform where the INEC would have provided for it to appear. But when it is, once it is physical and manual voting, definitely it means that collation will be manual. It's going to be physical.
Manual collation.
So it is after the manual collation. Yeah. It is the result gotten there that you transmit or you transfer to whatever you call it, whatever
so if I may understand you, both of them are to go side by side.
So whatever,
but in 2022, both of them also went side by side.
Yes.
So why didn't you go towards that real time? Because Nigerians are saying, even though the manual collation will still be there, but the issue
now, like if you go with even the declaration and the affirmation of the Supreme Court, this article versus INEC of 2023, the Supreme Court have heard that, look, IREF cannot form coalition. Coalition is done in situ at every polling unit. And once it is done, then it can now be transferred. And if there's maybe network in any point material, then that one does not make the result of that place inchoate. That does not nullify that result. So definitely, when you are now saying that one, when you are now talking about there could be this, there could be that, there must not be one option, which is the manual collation, that is going to tell us the real. Let me tell you something, my brother. Look, I'm a politician. We politicians at times might maybe want to play some games like this. If there is a polling unit that has an election, and then a candidate scores 100 votes, the other one scores 50 votes, then the rest maybe 20, 10 or 5. Now, and the presiding officer and the poll clerks, they now, after they count the votes openly, they will be showing ballot paper by ballot paper to everyone, 1, 2, 3 to 100 and so on and so forth. And now they record to form the EC8A. That is the foundation of everything. After doing that one, some party agents, we say they are not signing because they know their party has lost. They want to make an issue. And now, even if that results are transmitted to either RF or MRF or whatever RF, the same polling unit agent of that party and that candidate, we still say, oh no, that's not the original result that we got from there, because he has already assured his or her principal that we are going to win that polling unit. Immediately they don't win that polling unit,
it becomes a problem.
So those are areas that we have to look at. And like I said, look, when you make laws, you look at the ecosystem. When you make laws, even the most advanced democracies, we still have all these issues. Now, what we are saying is that when you talk of real time, the dictionary meaning of real time is instantly.
Instantaneous. As it's happening. All right.
Okay, let us say you now go to Ashabo village along Kotokarvi Abaji road, and now the network is not working. And then now they say instant, and you are now unable to now maybe put it there. Now does it means that the votes of that place is already cancelled?
No, it's not cancelled, because in the beavers, INEC actually says that beavers contains all of this information, and anytime you get close to where there's network, automatically it will go in. But I think maybe the point you're trying to talk about,
network, that is Kotokarve.
Yeah, because the election would have ended and collation must go on that same day.
Everybody in that polling unit that voted there follow that presiding officer to Kotokarve.
No, of course, that's why you have agents.
When it gets to Kotokarve, agent that refuses to even sign the result of from EC8A that you have gotten manually, that everybody there know that yes, this is the result. The same agent we now uphold it. That when you get to Kotukarve, you are going to send the same result, and then it's going to align with it. No.
But of course, okay, you're talking about
the most regrettable there is this. My brother, the most regrettable thing is this. There are some of these NGOs, like you spoke about my sister, which we respect her very well. She's a good Nigerian, very patriotic, very astute, very ebullient, very forward-looking, and it's a very good patriot, like I said. Look, when we talk at times, we look at practicability of these things because a group of CSOs and NGOs, they held retreat for our members, for senators, took us to Lagos. They said, yes, we want to come in as critical stakeholders to discuss, to dilate, to do this, to judge on the electoral reform. Yes, we were there. Then they were even sponsored by foreign agencies.
Yes,
by foreign countries.
We had the EU and all of that supporting.
Now, after it, what they generated, they now wanted us to adopt those things.
Yeah, but your committees actually adopted that, and they came to submit, and the opposition said that even the ad hoc committee set up by the Senate President adopted that.
My brother, when you talk of a committee, a subcommittee is not synonymous to the Senate.
Yeah, of course. That's why you have to go into the committee of the whole.
Yes, a subcommittee will just be maybe about 5 or 10 people, and then we have 109 senators. Then are you now telling me that even when 5 people now go into a closed door meeting among themselves, and then they now take something to us, then hook, line, and sinker, we just swallow.
Yeah, but if that's the case, the Senate President felt that they didn't do their job and reconstituted another ad hoc committee which recommended the same provisions. So does it mean that you don't trust the same ad hoc committee?
No, the ad hoc committee is not to review what that committee did, because we have a committee on electoral.
Okay, so what was it supposed to do?
We had a committee on electoral matters. It is not basically only for electoral reform.
Okay.
Electoral matters, oversight functions on ANEC, on any election, especially federal elections in the states, federal elections, and that of FCT and the other constituencies within FCT. That is their own duty.
And every party was represented in that committee.
Yes, every.
And they came back with the same electronic transmission. But why did you have to change it to transfer?
No, let me tell you something. What they came out with, you understand that? It's a form of when the NGOs, when they all met, and now they said, okay, this is it. Then let us just push out what they were saying. Now, let us now come and now discuss what they were saying, what they said. You understand that? And when we now discuss it, then they say 2 heads are better than 1. Then 1 heads are better than 10. And so let us now discuss it. And what I am saying, and what we are saying is that it does not mean that when NGOs just call any of us and say that, oh, let us just sit down together and listen together. And then whatever you now get out of that place as your own communique, we just adopt 100%.
Yeah,
and now take it. Now,
but the thing is, Nigerians are saying that they are disappointed with your decision.
No.
Going into conference, don't you think that the Senate could actually do something about it?
Now,
review that transfer and leave it at transmission?
My brother, let me tell you, like I said, when we now get to the conference committee, so many issues come up. And we look at so many things. And then if there's
including public opinion,
if there's anything we think we can add or we think we can take away, then because when you are making laws are not something that you just do on a pause.
Yeah, but Nigerians say
the
APC is afraid of free, fair, and credible.
No,
that's what the opposition members are saying.
How can we be afraid
of APC afraid of free, fair, and credible election?
Of a free and fair election when we have been in government for several years back? I'm an APC member. We have been winning elections.
But you're doing electronic membership register right now, and you're actually using an electronic system. But when it comes to that of Nigerians, you are saying that they should go back to the manual process.
What we are doing now is a miniature platform, which is just only open to words. So it is not.
But you are electronically registering your members.
Look, when you are
why you not using manual
If you are
system?
electronically registering our members, then it means that we have to electronically be doing voting. Because if you are doing voting electronically, that is when the result will just be going to any portal directly.
Instantaneously.
Yes.
I think you've not educated Nigerians on that, actually, because
So now,
that could have been the point.
Now, the INEC, you understand that? The INEC is the umpire. The INEC, the matter. It's like when you are deciding for a football team, you have a club of footballers, then you want to decide for them. You are not asking from them whether they can use a kind of boot to go and play on the field, and now you just give them canvas.
All right, but they say if you look at it, you're giving too much discretionary powers to INEC, whether to resort to manual or electronic on election day in terms of collation. Isn't that the problem that led the parties going to the Supreme Court?
No, even when
in 2023,
even when the parties went to Supreme Court, the Supreme Court averred. The Supreme Court, and we know that whatever the Supreme Court says is binding and becomes legal and becomes a law. You understand that? If you want to go about that, but we'll not even be talking about to reviewing the.
But too much discretionary powers on INEC means they can decide to do manual or do electronic. Isn't that a challenge itself? Why don't you tell them to just do something that works for Nigerians?
Look, what works for Nigerians? Like, let me tell you something. Even those of us who are elites, even when we talk, when you get to our areas where people do vote, it is not the same criticism, it's not the same issues that we are bringing up, that they'll be bringing up. Because many of us who just sit down in Abuja in our comfortable offices, and we just say, oh, all these kind of things. Those things are not even obtainable when you get to the countryside. And we all know, everybody knows that even in advanced democracies, we do have technical glitches during election.
Right.
And even putting the source of elections on. And even in America, up to today, they are still talking about 2020 election. That's about 6 years ago.
Yeah, which was very controversial.
They are still talking about it.
All right. Distinguished, let's move away from that. There are so many other things that you passed. As we try to wrap up the conversation, let's talk about early voting, which I'm very much...
And like I want to tell you,
yes.
Any NGO that has blackmailed the National Assembly, calling us all sorts.
It's not blackmail, it's transmitting. They are transmitting to you what Nigerians are telling them.
You don't know what I want to say?
Okay.
Unprintable names. Over what? Lawmaking is not by impulse. Lawmaking is not an emotional exhibition of a prowess. It's not about that one. Any uncharitable, unscrupulous, or charitable comments. Oh, this is the National Assembly in 1 million years of existence of Nigeria. What is the meaning of that?
Maybe you haven't been explaining better to them. That's why.
Let me tell you something. The laws have not even been out. The National Assembly has not even concluded. The process has not even been completed. And again, when you now have a communique from your NGO, do you expect us just to galvanize the world?
Well, maybe they are afraid. They keep saying that maybe
just swallow it.
The ruling party is afraid.
It out as even our own position. So, no, how can the ruling party be afraid? Now, let me tell you something, Oga Sumner. Look, this country, we know where we were before. We know where we are now. So, because today, I'm not here to come and explain what this government has done, the ruling party. And when you know, there's no way. Nigerians, we always gravitate towards that kind of party. Now, a party that has brought economic stability, maybe from the issue of forex, the issue of even this the subsidy and so many other things. And then when we look at states today, this is the first time, at least in several years, that states are not taking bailouts from federal government to pay salaries.
Yeah,
this is the first time that we are not having states that are paying half salary for 21 months. This is the first time. So don't let us go to that area.
All right.
Those civil servants too, they are Nigerians. Those civil servants are Nigerians. Those market women too, they are Nigerians. Those our commercial drivers, they are Nigerians. The Nigerians are not only those of us who are wearing tie in our offices.
All right,
yes, that's it.
I mean, a very important submission you've got there. But as we try to conclude this, I want you to talk about the early voting that was passed. I mean, you said that there will be a new provision that introduces early voting. That is 14 days before election, which I'm very happy as a journalist because it means I can vote before election day.
As a journalist who on the election day who will be on duty duty,
Yes.
soldiers who will be on duty, or paramilitary and then other security agents that will be on duty that day, then we believe that you should not be differentialized.
All right.
You should have a say. You is going to maybe manage the affairs of our country, our states, our area councils, and then National Assembly and State Assembly.
All right.
That's why we have put that one there. And then we have put one provision, which is very, very essential. And that provision is that, look, when a party fields an undesirable candidate, we have now put it there that we are not going to allow that party to even bring another person to go to substitute what that person is maybe drawn down, maybe due to perjury or forgery or whatever. Yeah. We are not going to do that. And we are now saying that. So the
deputy takes over?
No. Those parties.
Or the person who came second?
Those parties that comply. We are the only ones that will go into the election. And again, it's not that somebody who scores 100,000, when he has problem at the tribunal, then we now bring in somebody who has 10,000 and become maybe whoever or whatever. So we are saying that person is the only one who will be excluded from any run. So there's going to be any runs.
There will no longer be anybody who took fourth coming to come and take first position again.
I've never experienced that one in Nigeria.
Well, in Nigeria we had somebody. I mean, we've seen that happening.
That's not what we are saying.
Yeah.
Laws are laws.
Okay.
When laws are made, then you dictates of the laws are what we ensure what happens during elections. That's where we are. And moreover, like I said, the National Assembly will not condone all these kind of personalities who are just disparaging us, and then at the same time,
I mean, you do your job as lawmakers very quickly.
Rely on us to make their living.
Very quickly.
Rely on us to make their living.
Yeah, I mean,
they are making their living through
because they are helping you. I mean, there are support systems with the National Assembly.
That one,
but you would have had Clement. You would have had Clement in one call, for example, saying that he was really, really angry because he's a consultant to you people.
No, because we know that they are educated enough to know that the process of lawmaking is not something that just through the snap of your finger
very quickly.
then it is done.
Right.
And that's it. And then when you bring a communique, then it is adopted, and that is it. And once it is not adopted, just verbatim like that, then hell will let
I can see you're angry with some of the CSOs. But very quickly,
I'm not angry.
Very quickly.
I'm only expressing an opinion.
Well, the Senate needs to, discuss more with them very quickly before I let you go. One of the reforms also is that political parties must now submit their candidate list at least 90 days before the election. And then, of course, another one is that fines for buying or selling PVC card were increased from 2 million to 5 million.
Yes.
Though the jail time remains 2 years. Why?
Oh, yes.
Very quickly.
The jail time remains 2 years. Then if somebody is jailed for 2 years for either selling or buying votes, or being fined 5 million naira or both at the same time, we think that is adequate.
But the recommendation was that for 10 years, people should be barred from voting for 10 years. But you reduced it to this. Why?
Look, let me tell you something. That's something that you are a media man. When you are saying it's like forecast. When you forecast that Arsenal will give a team 5-0, and then if it is 2-0, then are you going to condemn Arsenal? So no. So recommendation is just living in the cloud. So but by the time we got in, we found out that, look, if you have 2 years or 5 million or both at the same time, then that is and let me tell you something. Even if somebody is jailed for 30 minutes, is an ex-convict. That person has penalty constitutionally. It means that person cannot even hold public office. That person cannot even be given. There are some rights that person that will be withdrawn from that person. Yeah. So definitely, even if it is 30 minutes that you are jailed for, and again, even when we know, even the 2 years, the 2 million naira that had been on before. Now let us first of all see it through.
All right.
Even if it is 6 months, let some people go to jail. If they sell their votes, or some people buy votes, let us see it happening.
All right, quickly. So you didn't talk of the 90 days for the political parties.
Yes, the 90 days. What we live with is that when a candidate emerges, that day it starts. Forget about whether INEC is given a time frame that you must not start campaigning until so. It is not true. That candidate, the electorate, party people will start visiting you.
All right.
Will start coming to your house. So in order to make sure that we give look, we have to give life to our politics.
All right.
We have to give life to our leadership. And the life we can give to leadership, because we are complaining about leadership recruitment. Then when you are now recruiting a leader, a local government chairman, or an House of Assembly person, or National Assembly, or a governor, I now tell him to start going out several months because it's election. And then you are now saying that it's exhausted.
All right,
it's exhausted.
I mean, that's
and then you cannot build something on nothing. You cannot be asking for accountability for somebody which the situation has not made accountable.
Right.
So definitely we know that within that 90 days, INEC must be able to print ballot papers, and then not only that, candidates will have just 3 months
enough time
to be on the street.
All right, interesting perspective
and then,
there.
Since we have already made it very compulsory for parties to be very thorough in their internal democracy, in making sure that candidates that are credible, so that are now put on the ballot, it means that the pre-election problem would have reduced.
Okay.
So definitely,
that's actually a very good place to live in.
We now have credible candidates contesting among themselves, instead of the wishy-washy thing that somebody will just come from nowhere, just hijack the system, just become it, and then after some time, somebody will go for pre-election matters, and then pre-election matter will dovetail into after the election.
All right, I'm afraid this
we are talking about that.
We'll find enough time to actually educate Nigerians on this issue, and maybe you're very passionate about the issues, and then you continue to enlighten the public.
And then we believe that we say that vigilance is the price to pay for eternal freedom.
All right.
We know that one. And then we are saying that our people too must be interested in the system. When we say we are going to have elections,
Senator Yemi Adaramodu
and vote, and then let them stay, and let the results be counted, and allow the presiding officers to declare results. Let all the agents collect their district. That is from ECAT.
All right, Senator, I mean, I was actually have to cut you short now.
Even transferring or even transmitting.
Thank you so much, Senator.
Or MREF. That is just it.
Senator Yemi Adaramodu is the chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, and of course, he has taken his time to actually educate Nigerians on some of the controversial issues, and of course, some of the innovations that were brought in, including early voting. Thank you so much for joining us to help enlighten Nigerians.
Thank you very seriously.